Hello, in this video we're going to learn a new topic which will be limits. With graphs. It means how do you find a limit using graphs? So let's see an example. See, I give you a graph that looks like this. So there's a hole here. See, this point is 2. The corresponding point here is 5. So 2 here and 5 there. And see, there's another closed dot here. And see, this is 7. Okay, so now question 1 is if I tell you, say this function is f of x. Now if I tell you find f of 2. So now the question is f of 2 5 or is f of 2 7? So remember, the question is asking you f of 2. You always look at the closed dot. So f of 2 is 7. Now we'll come to the concept of limits. The symbol for limits is LIM. X approaches the point given. So if I say 2 and say I put a minus here, f of x. Now what do you understand by this? It means x approaches 2 from the left side. So it means you approach the point from the left side here. Now what is happening at the same time to the graph? So if you approach the point from here, the graph is approaching the point 5 or 7, that's the question. So when you're doing limits, you look at the point where the graph is ending but not necessarily reaching. So it's not reaching 7, it's ending at 5, so the answer is 5 here. Not 7. If the question was f of 2, then it's 7. Similarly, if I ask you limit x approaching 2 plus. Now what do you understand by this? If there is a plus here, it means you approach the point from the right side. And then you look at the graph from the right side. Where is the graph approaching? It's again approaching the point 5. It's not approaching 7. It's approaching 5. It's reaching 7, but it's approaching 5. So limit will be where is it approaching, not where is it reaching. And then if these two are equal, minus and plus, then you can say limit x approaching 2 f of x without the plus and minus is 5. So remember, to get the answer for the limit at a point, you need to check both from the left and the right in the graph. So the answer to this question was limit x approaching 2 f of x equals 5. Alright, let's do one more. Now say I give you another graph, something like this. Again, let's do the same points, 2, 5, say this is 7. And say this function is g of x now. Both of them are g of x. So now first question, what is g of 2? So you should look at the closed dot, not the open dot. So g of 2 is 5. Because we look at the closed dot. Now limit x approaching 2 minus g of x. It means you approach the point 2 from the left. Where is the graph approaching? 5 or 7? It's not approaching 7 because there's nothing on the left of 7. It's approaching 5. Similarly, let's see limit x approaching 2 plus g of x. It means approach the point 2 from the right. What is the graph approaching? 7, not 5. You only look at where the graph is reaching. So this is 7. So now here's the question. Is 5 equal to 7? Clearly not. So your answer for limit x approaching 2 without plus minus should be does not exist. So just make a note. If the left hand side and the right hand side are not equal, it does not exist. Okay, let's do one more quickly. I'll give you one more graph. This one. The dot is here. Let's take another point now. Say this is 3, this is 1, this is 4, this is 8. So first question, let's say this is h now. So the question is, what is h of 3? So you always look at the closed dot. So h of 3 is 1. Limit x approaching 3 minus h of x. It means you approach this point from here. The graph is approaching. What is the value? 4, because it's approaching point 4 on the y-axis. Similarly, limit x approaching 3 plus h of x. Now approach the point from the right. What is the graph approaching? 8. So is 4 equal to 8? Clearly not. So you say limit x approaching 3 h of x equals, is it 4 or 8? The answer is none of them. The answer is does not exist. I hope the concept of limit made sense. So the concept of limit is, where is the graph approaching when you reach the point from left and right, and whatever the answer is on the y-axis, that should be your answer. But they both need to be equal, the left and the right, in order for it to exist. Only when they are equal, the answer will be the same number. Now one more thing, just make a note. If all 4 of them, this one, this one, this one, and this one are equal, then you will have to say that the function h of x is continuous at x equals 3. So just make a note. If all 4 of them turn out to be equal, then h of that function will be continuous. Let's do an example of that. A simple example would be something like this. So this is 2, this is 5. So this is f now. Now what is f of 2? 5. What is limit x approaching 2 minus of f of x? 5. Similarly 2 plus is 5. Now if these two are equal, the limit without the plus and minus is also 5. Now they all are equal. So when that happens, you can say that the function f of x is continuous at x equals whatever your point was. So this is a basic concept of limits with graphs. Any questions, you can type in below.